We're live.
Lovely. All right. Today's Monday, February 28th. This is the Finance Committee for the Village of Gulf Manor. If I may have a roll call, please.
Mr. Badger,
Here.
Mr. Knapp, Ms. Norman, Ms. Snyder,
Here.
all members present except for Ms. Norman.
Do I have a motion to excuse Miss Norman?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Need to set the agenda and adopt. Any changes or amendments to the agenda? Lovely. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Nobody registered to address the committee. We have minutes from January 24th, 2022. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes.
I will second.
Oh.
You weren't here, so. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. With that being said, we will jump into new business with Mr. Lancer and the financial packets.
Yeah. I'm going to jump to January of this year's financial packet first, and then go to the end of the year, because the end of the year stuff in December is interrelated. So for January fiscal year 2022, the village maintained an adjusted bank balance of $2,888,000. Of this amount, nearly $94,000 rests in several dedicated law enforcement accounts and can only be expended for those purposes. Please note, as I always try to reiterate when reviewing these reports, that the vast majority of what's in the village's checking account is actually dedicated to several road and street maintenance funds, and those are dedicated use. So they can only be spent for road construction, maintenance, and repairs of village road, street, and sidewalk infrastructure. In January, there were 27 outstanding payments that totaled $32,000. As for cleared payments, the village had 77 payments cleared the village bank account and totaled $195,000. Of this, $176,000 is accounted for in the village's general fund. This amount was nearly $48,000 more than what the village spent during January of last year. And the top 5 payment payees during this time were payroll, Ohio Police and Fire Pension, the Jefferson Health Plan, Adlita, and MERS. So most likely the reason for the jump in spend in this month was related to Adlita, which if you're viewing from home, Adlita is the construction company that is making the improvements to Vera. As for revenues, the village generated $70,000 in January fiscal year 2022 in general fund income tax receipts. This amount was nearly $35,000 more than what the village generated during January of last year. And for the year, village administration forecasts income tax receipts to be $860,000, or 31% of all general fund revenues. Just for reference, the village generated just north of $928,000 in income tax receipts last year. So we're being a little bit conservative, and the reason why is related to the firehouse next door. We just won't have those employees in the village any longer. With that said, the village has not received any general fund property tax receipts at this time. So that's the end of my January report, quick and easy. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Do you have one just quick question on payments to Park National? What is that for?
Park National.
That's for the HSA fund.
Okay, there.
That thing.
Thank you. Just want to make sure it wasn't debt service that I wasn't aware of.
No,
All right.
no, it's not.
Great.
The only debt service that I'm aware of that we're making payments on off the top of my head is we've made payments for Stover. We make those payments every January and every July. That is a 20-year debt.
Yep.
We've made, I believe the first year of payments was last year, and then vehicle payments.
Okay. Great.
All right. So my fiscal year 21 overview, if there's no more questions, I'll just jump right into that. As I mentioned in the previous meeting, village administration has been working diligently to complete the year-end close process required by the auditor of state for fiscal year 21. This work entailed that village administration complete December fiscal year 21 bank rec, 1099s, adjust existing purchase orders, and create and submit several regulatory statements and debt schedule statements to the state auditor. It takes a lot of time, among other things. I'm sure I'm leaving some things off that Paul is working on as well. But that work was accomplished on February 14th, 2 weeks before the official auditor deadline, February 28th. And the following information is a summary of the financial condition of the village as it enters this year. So to end 2021, the village maintained an adjusted bank balance of $2,911,000. As for the general fund, total revenues for the year exceeded those from fiscal year 20 by the amount of approximately $44,000 and totaled $2,176,000. The largest sources of revenue increases for the village during fiscal year 21 were in both income tax revenues and real estate with property taxes. So in regard to general fund income tax receipts, the village generated, I think I said 928, I misspoke, it was $936,000 for the year. That is the most
Actually paid for the past.
we don't know that. That to us. I suspect less than 50% of all residents in the village of Gulf Manor pay income tax.
A lot of folks have that work in like city of Cincinnati
Yeah.
too.
We give credit
Yeah.
for that. So most of it's not, I don't believe being generated by residents, it's being generated by businesses.
Yeah.
This amount was 14% or $115,000 more than what the village was able to generate in income tax receipts in all of fiscal year 20. Similarly, in regard to real estate property taxes, the village generated $687,000 or nearly $30,000 more than what the village generated during fiscal year 20. All of which are good signs, and all of which are, with all the doom and gloom about COVID and the impact it would have, in particular on local municipalities, the village of Gulf Manor had some of their best years in terms of revenue generation. As for appropriations, the village spent 95% of all approved general fund appropriations last year. Just for your reference, the village council approved $2,341,000 in general fund appropriations for last year, and the village spent $2,234,000 of those approved appropriations. Both total appropriations approved by council and the actual spending of those appropriations exceeded that from the previous year. Fiscal year 20, the village council approved total appropriations of $1,945,000 and spent 89% of those approved appropriations for $1,747,000. Before we dive too deeply into this, though, I want to note something. If you look at approved appropriations, spent appropriations, and compare them to fiscal year 21 and fiscal year 20, it's important to note that fiscal year 20 appropriations were adjusted several times throughout the year per the recommendation of the Regional Income Tax Agency, RITA, and State and County Auditor's Office in an attempt to navigate the financial uncertainty related to COVID-19. So in fiscal year 20, we received emails and direct communication by the state and the county and RITA to anticipate revenue shortfalls of 20%. And we adjusted accordingly. Fortunately, that didn't happen. Also in fiscal year 20, we received a substantial amount in CARES Act money. And a lot of our expense went to that. So some of these fiscal year 20 numbers, especially on the appropriation side, I think don't tell the full story of what was actually spent last year, or fiscal year 20. So, but despite the increase in general fund revenue receipts for the year, when compared to that from fiscal year 20, village appropriation spend did exceed revenues last year. As a result, the village's general fund, or the fund balance, ended fiscal year 21 nearly $60,000 below the figure from fiscal year 20, ending with a total of $927,000. Still healthy, although lower figure than the previous year. I believe that the village general fund balance remains healthy. The current fund balance level is 3 times larger than that from fiscal year 17. But it's important to keep an eye on it, okay? Again, appropriations did exceed revenues. We don't necessarily like seeing that, but there's a lot of reasons why last year that occurred. I think we anticipated actually the fund balance to be significantly lower than what it was. We were helped in large part by $135,000 difference in income tax receipts. But that's where we are, and that's the end of my report. And again, I'm happy to answer any questions the committee might have.
I don't have any questions. I do want us to, I think the amount of cash that we're starting to carry is getting excessive. And I want us to look into, as we see a rising rate environment for 2022, the STAR Fund. So I would encourage the administration to come up with a strategy for us to use the STAR Fund through the year. It doesn't obviously need to be our entire cash reserve, but I'd like to see us start chunking a large, 50% of our cash reserve over there. I did a quick calculation, and based on what rates are right now, it's $3,000 a year. But you're going to see rates increasing dramatically through the back half of the year, I think, as long as the economy stays where it is, doesn't waffle too much from what's going on in Eastern Europe. So I would encourage and maybe ask that for next Finance Committee meeting that there's some sort of strategy or idea put in place, not even put in place, but that you guys come back with regarding the use of STAR funds.
Yep.
That'd be great.
The other issue we discussed last time, we were reaching out to Tom Carroll. I attempted to do that. We just couldn't connect on schedules prior to this meeting. But
For the development fund.
The development fund
Yeah.
is another opportunity for a lot of that. I agree. There's a lot there. Interest rates have been so low, though, that
The SOFR rate has tripled in the last week and a half to 2 weeks because of what's going on with inflation and a bunch of other things. And interest rates, as you know, have increased dramatically. So we're starting to see it. So not that we'll miss out because it's liquidity, right?
Right.
But if we can get a little bang for a buck versus the probably 1 basis point we're getting at Fifth Third sitting in a checking account,
right.
Every little bit helps, and it's completely liquid, and you can pull it all back the next day.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
There is another update, and it wasn't on, I don't believe it's on the agenda, but Deer Park Silverton, I wanted to provide an update on that as well, assuming everyone's finished with the questions. All right. We've worked closely with our counterparts at Deer Park Silverton and LMFR to establish and coordinate payment schedules for the Village of Gulf Manor and to the Village of Gulf Manor and to Deer Park Silverton Fire Department from Gulf Manor. As I mentioned in previous reports, the village is set to begin a new fire and EMS arrangement with Deer Park Silverton beginning tomorrow. Despite this new relationship, the residents of the Village of Gulf Manor will still be required to pay property taxes under the existing LMFR fire levy for fiscal year 22, because property taxes are collected a year in arrears. So for this reason, it was necessary to develop a payment arrangement to the village from LMFR in order to ensure the efficient transfer of paid Gulf Manor residential property taxes to the village and to ensure prompt payment to Deer Park Silverton's fire department under the terms of the new 5-year service contract. So we've achieved this. Moving forward, the village has agreed to submit payment to Deer Park Silverton by the 5th of every month. The first payment totaling, I believe, is $48,000 or thereabout, was submitted to Deer Park Silverton last week. Similarly, the village will receive approximately 22% of all property tax revenues received by LMFR on a monthly basis each month for fiscal year '22, and they will get those to us as soon as they hit their bank account. And the first payment, I don't believe we received it yet, but I'm expecting it this week. The check was cut on Friday. The first payment, like I said, is expected to be received this week, in total approximately $129,000. So that is our portion of property taxes, and then they owe us, I believe it's $95,000 on the first of every March for the next 5 years. So we are ready.
That's based on their year end.
It's what was agreed to in the contract.
Yeah.
So we are ready to go from a financial perspective to start tomorrow uninterrupted.
Okay.
And then, is there any questions with that? Okay. Then the last item I had is a new vehicle purchase. It's the intention of village administration to purchase a new vehicle for the service department. The new vehicle will be a 2022 Ford F-250, and it will replace the current service department F-250 that was purchased in 2012. The vehicle is just at the end of its service life. There's plowing, 10 years of snow, and everything else that they do to wear those trucks out. So the vehicle will be purchased in coordination with the Ohio Purchasing Collaborative from Fuller Ford for a price of $54,000. But I just want everyone to note, due to several factors, existing low vehicle inventory, and the particular needs of the service department, this vehicle will have to be built. And the estimated build time for this vehicle is between 3 and 6 months. We've requested financing from US Bank, Fifth Third, and Ford Credit, and village administration is recommending that council approve financing arrangement with US Bank. The terms of the arrangement are $54,000 at an interest rate of 3.40% for a term of 36 months beginning upon delivery of the vehicle. That's all I had, and I'm happy to answer any questions about that.
Is that interest rate is locked or no?
Fixed rate, 3.40%.
Yeah, couple questions.
That was by far the best rate that we
Yeah.
received.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Ford was 4.6. Fifth Third, they were having trouble financing anything below $75,000 for us.
Equipment finance deals, they all have minimums and thresholds. So, okay. I'm glad we were able to get some competitive offers just to make double check.
Yeah, we did our due diligence on this.
Great.
US Bank, again, is the prime bank to go with.
Do you need a recommendation to council?
That would be helpful.
I need to abstain from that as a employee and shareholder of US Bank. So I have to abstain. So if you guys,
So we'll have the record reflect that.
so if you guys would like to go ahead and make that motion.
So there's our motion to approve the council purchase of the 2022 truck for the service department. Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
I,
I don't know. Okay.
Please let it reflect that I abstained.
Mr. Richards.
All right. Anything, financial audit committee.
Yeah, I put this on here just to mention, there will be full minutes from that committee that'll be posted in the next council packet. But that committee did meet this evening. The auditor has asked that we meet on a regular basis. We have it scheduled 3 times this year. This is number 1. We'll have, I don't think we need to go into details, but audit stuff was good.
Pending business ARPA expenditure plan.
Yeah, this is on here just to remind us that we do by the end of the month of April, so month after next, a plan due to the federal government on how we've spent or how we intend to spend the ARPA funding that we've received. I would note, if you didn't see it, the playground equipment is going up as we speak. So that's kind of exciting to see that happen. So we'll make the expenditure from that fund for the other half of the funds to complete that project.
Great. All right. Moving into old business, the 10 mil replacement levy for fire and EMS service.
It is on the ballot for May 3rd.
Great.
The issue number won't be issued until, I think it's April 4th. No, it's earlier than that. That'll be in the next week. I believe it was.
Okay.
And then council needs to decide if and how they wish to support the levy.
Okay.
Separately from.
All right. 2022 tax season.
Paula, any updates?
They're due.
Your returns are due on Monday, April 18th.
Great. Economic development, we kind of talked about that.
I have one small item. There may be another grant opportunity for the village with the county in regards to economic development. We submitted a grant application and hopefully we hear back something said in March.
What is it for?
It's open-ended.
Okay.
They want to provide additional funding for economic development related activities
Okay.
to entering suburban, first tier suburban.
Okay.
Which we are.
Yeah.
We're going to be very aggressive on this.
Great. Good news. All right. Next Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for Monday, March 28th at 6 p.m. Any other announcements? No. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.